Stepped back in, as we are right now seeing rejection at the 40K range for the Bitcoin price. Is the bull trap theory potentially still in play? Let's dive in and analyze. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Crypto Kirby here, your cryptocurrency expert, back with another edition of the daily live stream. So let's not waste any time and get right down to it. If you are subscribed to this channel, then this rejection occurring right now at the 40K range should have come as no surprise to you, as we have been extensively covering this potential resistance ceiling here. You can see that we've been building resistance in this range ever since back in January of 2021. Fast forward into the current day and you can see that we formed resistance here back in May, again in June, and again here in July. The good news, though, is that if we do continue to see Bitcoin drop here, this yellow line is very relevant to me at this very specific moment in time. You can see this was the peak of our last swing high, all right? We had our swing high up here, it dropped, formed the swing low, okay? The bottom came in, we ripped up, got rejected, formed somewhat of a double bottom here, actually a little bit better than a double bottom. It was a higher low technically. So right now, if we are to see a correction occur from 40K down, this line in the sand here is very important because old swing high resistance now could potentially look to become swing low support. And trust me folks, if we are to actually see the Bitcoin price drop down to this mid $36,000 level, you'll see all of the social media pundits will be screaming, "It's over, it's all done, the bull trap has commenced." And I do think that that's certainly possible. The probability for that certainly does increase with a rejection at this range. But until I see this $36,500 level broken and starting to close candle bodies on the daily time frame below this level, I certainly think that it's possible that this still could just be a healthy correction amidst a new potentially bullish uptrend. Let's get this crypto. I mean, technically speaking, creating any type of new high or low here would be bullish. So even if we do lose this yellow line in the mid 36K range, I mean, even if we were to come all the way back down to say 32,000, technically it's still bullish. It's just not as bullish as I would like to see. And I hope that's easy enough to understand, right? The lower we drop, right? Say that we don't use this swing high resistance as new support. That's weakness. But if we still are to see the next higher low come in, this still would be showing some strength for the macro trend. I'm just personally a fan of seeing extreme bullishness or extreme bearishness rather than somewhat bullish or somewhat bearish. If we are to find support here at 36,500 or above and look to rip above this 40 to 42K resistance, that would be extreme bullishness. But if we are to drop below there, it's just somewhat bullish if we can still keep the higher low trajectory intact. So at the end of the day, although this move for Bitcoin was nice, the problem here, folks, is that this still could very well wind up being a bull trap. And the reason that I say that is that we have not broken through this very critical resistance ceiling here. We have not even put in a new macro higher high. You see that, right? And if Bitcoin is to get rejected at this level once again and lose support here below the yellow line, well, folks, this to me would be an absolute warning shot fired. Again, it's not like it's the end of the world. I'm not saying that if we drop below there, it's all over. As I just showed you, we still could potentially create another higher low. But you see that the probabilities start to shift, right? Trading is all about probabilities. If we drop below this line, the probability for a massive rip up, in my opinion, decreases. If we stay above the yellow line, the probability for a massive rip up increases, in my opinion, and I hope that's easy enough to understand. And if you are appreciating this analysis thus far, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you for that. And if you're brand new, sheesh, welcome to the most must-see Bitcoin analysis show on YouTube, period. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, tick the little bell, and select all, as you cannot afford to miss any more of these important Bitcoin updates. So now I'd like to share something unique with all of you. This is going to be on the weekly time frame on the line break chart. Let me repeat that one more time for the moon boys in the back. This is on the 1 week time frame on the line break chart, something you probably have never looked at, and if you have, maybe you've seen it only once or twice. And that's fine. This is not something that traders always use, all right? But what I wanted to show you here was a pattern that I noticed. And this pattern, rather this fractal, is that after we've seen a bearish downturn, which is 2 to 3 or more red candles to the downside, it's been pretty safe to enter a bullish trade after 3 green candles to the upside. Albeit this is never perfect, past performance does not indicate future results, but let's just take a look here. If you had entered after the 3rd green candle there, you could have rode this trend up for nearly 20% to the upside. That's a small one there. This one, you would have never entered, right? We did not get 3, we only had 2. Over here, you could have entered there. You would have rode it up for roughly another 40% before the top. Over here, this is a big one, folks. You could have rode this one up for over 500% to the upside. And back in time here, you can see all the way back here, you could have rode this one up. I mean, just to that first drop was almost 70%. And if you held all the way through, you know, basically almost 13x on your initial trade. Now, the reason that I'm showing you this is purely because of the fact that right now we have had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red candles in a row here, followed up by now what could be 2 weeks in a row of green. So if we are next week to close a green candle, this would be 3 green candles in a row, the exact same fractal that I just pointed out that has worked in the bull's favor time and time and time again all the way back since roughly 2012. So if you do appreciate that, folks, seriously, thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, tick the little bell, and select all. This is some crazy stuff here. And as I said earlier, there are no certainties or guarantees in trading, and past performance does not indicate future results. It's just that, hey, right now with this support potentially being found down in the 30K range and with the Bitcoin price surging over the past week, I do like that something bullish could be forming here and that a decade-old fractal, nearly a decade-old fractal, could continue to play out here. Let's get this crypto, but let's move along. Something else I like here on the weekly time frame is the Keltner channels indicator. You can see that we've found somewhat of a support range here at the bottom of the band, and it appears now that the bulls are looking to test up. Now the target from a Keltner channels perspective is the top of the band, and you can see that this does directly coincide here with my range of potential price action resistance. Now this was the old multi-month support back up here before our heinous debacle, so it's very possible in my opinion that the bulls may be looking for a retest up in this range, basically between 45,000 up to about 49,000. And on the 1 day time frame for the same indicator, the Keltner channels indicator, you can see that we have now definitively broken above and closed above the top band, something that we have not done since we reached our all-time high back in April. Again, these are just small signs of potential bullishness. At the end of the day, this still all could wind up being a bull trap as we have not broken above this ceiling. Please keep that in mind. These are just small indications that, hey, it's possible that the trend is beginning to change here. Doesn't mean that the trend has changed, doesn't mean that the trend will change. It's just that it's possible that it could be changing right here, right now. So with that being said, I'd like to bring up a quote. This one here is from Alexander Elder. Quote, "To be a good trader, you need to trade with your eyes open, recognize real trends and turns, and not waste time or energy on regrets and wishful thinking." End quote. And the reason why I pulled up that quote in particular is because I feel that it's important to recognize here that we could be seeing the trend change right now, but we still have not confirmed it, right? And even just below this 50K range, we still really haven't confirmed much, albeit, as I said earlier, the probability, in my opinion, increases for further potential bullish upside if we are to break through this resistance. But if we are to actually get rejected here, which is very possible, and then also lose the support in the mid 36K region, folks, the probabilities may once again begin to shift. And if that is in fact the case, you need to be prepared for all scenarios. If we rip through the resistance, you have to have a plan if it breaks up. If we get rejected at the resistance, if we get rejected and then lose this support here, you need to have a plan. If we get rejected and find support here, you need to have a plan. You need to try and identify all of the possible scenarios that could play out here in the